Hey everyone, it is Shannon and I'm here today to do a video and share with you all of the books that are on my currently reading list on GoodReads. So this is as of April 10th, 2020. I have a total of 19 books sitting on my currently reading shelf, and I don't mind having a lot of books on my currently reading shelf. It doesn't bother me. I do read a lot of books at the same time because I deke in and out of this and that, but some of these have been holdovers for quite some time, and others are one that I'm going to finish pretty soon. I have recently made it a habit every month that I want to finish half of the books that are on my currently reading once, like as of the first of the month. So I've been doing pretty good on continuing to work on that as a goal. I just like to do it to not forget about things that I may have started, a while ago, but I don't feel super pressured to do it. It's just sort of like a bit of a side goal, a bit of a side challenge, if you will, side quest. It's actually been working pretty well. So right now I have 19 books sitting on my currently reading. I'm going to start off with what I have started most recently, and to what I have started years ago. So let's start with the April reads. First up, most recently I started The Secret of the Old Clock by Carolyn Keene. This is the first in the Nancy Drew mystery stories. I've read a couple of the other ones, but the hold for this one came in later. So yeah, I anticipate finishing this within like a week or so. It's a very fast read, and I'm enjoying it. So it'll be done. I wanted to read it for March Mystery Madness, but that didn't happen because it holds. So, and it's fine. It's fine. Next up, I'm reading The Crown Ain't Worth Much, and this is a collection of poetry by Hanif Abdurraqib. I read another collection of his earlier in the year, and I listened to it on audiobook and loved it. So I wanted to read more, and I am now reading more. It's quite intense, but it's also very, very good. So definitely has the feels and intensity that goes along with them. I'm also reading Silver on the Tree by Susan Cooper. This is the fifth and final book in the Darkest Rising sequence. I haven't gotten to this one as much as I thought I would. I think it's because I'm in the middle of a lot of similar things. So hopefully I will finish this one soon. It's a series ender and it's part of my stacking the series. So I really would like to finish it. So I'm a little surprised that I haven't finished it. Also in April, I have started Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I want to finish this weekend. So that is challenge throwdown. So hopefully I'll be halfway done the rest of this by the time this video goes up. We'll see. And I'm also reading Making Comics by Lynda Berry. I have no time frame for this one. I'm enjoying it. It is instructional as well as enjoyable. And because it's sort of like a syllabus of her art classes. And so I'm going to go through it in the time in which it takes to go through it, so there's no speed reading that one. It's just enjoyment, because art. Next up, the ones I started in March. First is Channel Zero by Brian Wood, illustrated by Becky Cloonan. This is a cyberpunk graphic novel, and I think it's an all-in-one edition. It's a little bit long. I'm hoping to finish this one up pretty soon, I did end up renewing it from Hoopla, but still, it would be good to finish it. I don't have that much left, but it's pretty intense, so it's not like every day I'm not up to it, so... Some slow reads. Oh my gosh, Crust by Ice by Nalini Singh. I feel like I've mentioned this in like every single video I've recorded this year. This is the third in the Psy-Changeling series, which is an urban fantasy paranormal series. I'm reading it very slowly. Hopefully I will finish it soon, by the end of April for sure. So yeah. I'm also reading The Gods of Mars by Edgar Burrows. This is the second in the Barsoom series, or the John Carter series. I hope to finish this in the next week or so. It's also on my Stacking the Series, and so is this is on my Sci-Fi Fantasy and Weird Stacking the Series. Crest by Ice is on my Romance Stacking the Series. And then I also have The Woman I Wanted to Be by Diane von Furstenberg. This is a memoir. She is a fashion designer, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm listening to it on audiobook. No time frame for that. I listen to audiobooks like at whatever pace. I don't worry about it. So I will get to it when I get to it. She is absolutely fabulous. And more female goodness. The Female Gaze. This is by Alicia Malone. This is a book of a nonfiction film book about essential movies made by women. And I have been trying to watch the films they talk about and then read the film that they talk about. And my next one to read is Cleo from 5 to 7, which is available on Canopy. So I'm hoping to do that, but that's been on my to-do list for many weeks, so I'm not getting to that. But I do hope to. Alternatively, I could jump through the book and just read the ones that are based on the films that I have seen, or I could create a TBW, a to be watch list of all of the films to watch or something. I'm not sure, but I definitely want to be watching more films made by women, and so that was the incentive to read the book, but sometimes pairing, this will come up again, sometimes pairing reading with an activity, reading a particular book with a particular activity slows down the reading process, so I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen there, but I am enjoying it and it's very good. I just don't know if I'm reading it in the best way. I don't like spoilers, which is why I don't want to read until I've seen the film. I don't want the context of the films, the behind the scenes context of the film until I watch the film. That's a preference. That's totally a preference. Other people would read like the entire book and then just watch the movies that they're interested in. Everyone's different. So, okay. And then I started some physical books in March, including The Double Hook by Sheila Watson. This is a Canadian novel. I actually decided to go back to the beginning and start this again because I had missed something pretty significant, and it's not a long book. It's only 134 pages. It is very short chapters. The chapters are like sometimes not even a page. So Canadian books do take me longer, but this one I found it was no problem to go back and start at the beginning. So I think I'll finish it by the end of April. Sometimes I'm giving predictions, sometimes I'm not. This video is all over the place. Next up, Taming the Infinite by Ian Stewart. This is a nonfiction math book. And I got it from my dad for my birthday. I asked for it. Yeah, so it's got some awesome illustrations. The cover is awesome. And it's about the history of math. And I'm enjoying it. I like math. I do. Other than, doing sort of finance type stuff, like I'll give that, here's the chapters. People are interested in some of the subjects it covers. I find we don't encounter math a lot on our day-to-days, and I miss it. So, I don't know. So, I gotta work some ways of getting some math in my life, and reading this book is one of them. Although I'm reading it quite slowly, so there is that. But I guess also for me, working with pattern, whether it's knitting or creating a repeating pattern, or working just on art and creating a pattern, like just deciding, okay, this are going to have two overlapping things, or one circle is always going to be touching a triangle. That's math in its own way, and I find that very engaging and enjoyable. I know it's not for everyone, but I love it. So anyway, got some math in there. Yeah, and so I'm also reading, here we go, Legends, Women Who Have Changed the World Through the Eyes of Great Women Writers. This is portraits, and it's got a portrait of a famous woman and then a write-up about her. So this one's Betty Davis. And then the write-up is by Janet Flanner. So I originally got this last year mostly for the portraits. I thought that they would be wonderful to copy in terms of drawing. And I ended up not going, I started reading it and I have not gotten very far. And I think what happened with this one is that I didn't know when I bought it that the written works are actually excerpts from other things. So they weren't written specifically for this book. So sometimes they're all over the place in terms of style and consistency. I noticed there was one that had lots of, I can't remember what it's called when you have two periods in a row. Is it ellipses or something? And all of these brackets and all of these punctuation things that are that you would use in an essay to refer to other things or to refer that something's missing. And I'm like, this is really weird. So I looked in the back and I realized it was had all these, not just photo credits, but also had writing credits. So I think all of the writing is from other works. So someone just put the two and two together, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just didn't know that. So it just sort of, it it tempered my response to the book, and I haven't quite gotten over that. Because of course they're all awesome women, and I want to learn about awesome women. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't love the format because it feels a little, I don't know, it's not great. And there was also one that was quite negative that I was very surprised at, that was about a very famous dancer and choreographer, and it was just the tone of it I was shocked at. And she's apparently quite a hard case. But still, I was just kind of like, it felt so negative. It seemed inappropriate for a book that was about something I would consider like celebrating women. So like, it wasn't negative, like, I don't know. It was, anyway, obviously I'm having very strong reaction to it, but I would like to read it, even if it's just to find out more about women that I already think are awesome, and to learn about women I don't even know about that are awesome, like on that front. So I would really like to get over this, like, whatever, and just enjoy it as a resource, even though it's not necessarily in the format that I want. Or maybe I will just cut out all the pictures and draw them and research the women later. I don't know. So I don't know what's going on with that one. So those are books that I started in March. In February, I started Sword Maker by Jennifer Robertson. I am so surprised that I haven't made more progress on this. This book I'm reading very, very slowly. It's a fantasy series that started in the 80s. It's one of my all-time favorite fantasy series, but I never ended up finishing it. It's another one that's on my Stacking the Series. It does have a bit of a weird, like, it has 4 books that came out in the 80s and 90s, and then some books that came out in the 2000s. So I want to catch up with, reread the ones that I have previously read, and then finish off the series. So it ended up on my Stacking the Series. So I love it. I don't know. I'm reading a lot of the Stacking the Series I'm reading right now are just, they take me longer, or maybe my attention span's not great because, like, the world, I don't know. Let's blame it on something else. I don't know. Okay, so the rest of the works that I am in the middle of are all digital, so we are going to the handy dandy tablet. So last year, I started reading Outline Alphabets 100 Complete Fonts by Dan X Solo. This is one that I, again, paired with an activity. I wanted to try drawing all of the different alphabets in this, and I did a couple, and then it just stagnated. So it's not really a book that you read. It's a reference book. I think it's a version, I think it's, like, it looks kind of like a Dover thrift edition. Oh, it doesn't. It says green edition. I'm not sure. But, it's more of a reference book. It's not like, this is what this alphabet is about. It's just examples. So my way of engaging with the book is a bit different. So anyway, I haven't made any progress. It's been on my to-do list week after week. Hopefully I will get an opportunity to continue this, because they're also outline alphabets, so they're ones that you can color in if you would like to do that, or shade them in different ways. So I thought that would be an interesting way to look at alphabets. I like lettering, I like calligraphy, I like letters, I like symbols, I like pattern, I like drawing. So it's just like, I just want to sit down and draw the alphabets. I do, but I haven't, so sits on my TV. Mine currently reading. It just sits there. It sits there, as does other titles that are taking me forever to get through. So we also have The Cottage of Pumpkin and Vine. I started this last November. This is a collection of 3 short stories, one by Kate Angle, one by Jennifer Dawson, and one by Charlotte Lovelace. I read the first of the 3 short works. They are racy romances. At least the first one was very racy. Very racy. But I haven't continued. Sarah mentioned this, Sarah from Steeped in Books mentioned this, and people sort of read this one together. It was a bit of a book club thing. And I never finished it. So bad. I am a bad book clubber. I think I just got to stop trying to do book club type of things, because I keep failing. Okay. Next up, Midsummer Mischief by Jennifer David Hesse. This is the first in the Wiccan Wheel mystery series. So these are mysteries, but they seem to have some romancy elements, if if I understand correctly, and there seems to be. I'm only, I don't know, maybe 15% in this book. I started it last year. I really actually enjoy it, and I love that the Mysteries series, it follows the different Wiccan or pagan holidays, including Midsummer for this one, and Imbolc and Candlemas. Oh no, that would be the same thing. Yule, Samhain, like, and I just love that, and that they're mysteries. So I don't read tons of mysteries. I thought I would get it in for March Mystery Madness, but I didn't. I had some other stuff on the go, so hopefully I will get back to this. I did read some of it, so I got back to it a little bit in March. So eventually I will finish it, because I would like to I would like to continue the series. So, but right now, still book one. Also, book one, or volume one, is the Diary of Anais Nin, and I am reading volume one, which is 1931 to 1934. She is an author, a writer. She is known for writing erotica, and I started this many years ago, but then there was a very early in the book, there was a reference to, I think, Madame Bovary, so I stopped reading it and put it aside. Finally read Madame Bovary last year, and I came back to it, and then I don't know why I didn't continue. The writing is extraordinary. How she describes people and her relationship with people is amazing. I don't know why I haven't come back to this one. They're available on Scribe, the whole series. There's a lot of them. Maybe because it's really long. I don't know. I like memoir. I don't know what's going on. I just need to get back to it. One of these days I will. And the last one is A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab, which has been on my currently reading list since 2017. So this is the oldest and the like, it's been on the longest, but I'm actually totally fine with it, because I actually was going to buddy read this one, and me and my buddy also both got like a good chunk into the book, and then the buddy read just fell. It just fell, and so I want to talk with them in terms of whether or not we want to continue reading it together, if we should do it separately, if we want to read something else, but it just has not been a priority because life happens. And I would honestly have to go back to the beginning if I was going to pick this one back up, and I do want to read it eventually. It's on the BookTube SFF backlist as nominated in whatever year it would have been nominated for, or it was a prereq. No, it's nominated. It was nominated, it's shortlisted. So I do want to read it, but it just, at this point, it just makes me laugh. It's 2 years older than the next highest work. I think that's because in one of the years I got very determined. Last year I got very determined on my currently reading, and I do tend to do a blitz at some point of the year working off older titles. So I'm not worried about that one at all. Like, I do want to read it eventually, but at this point it just makes me laugh. I started it, so it's totally fine. So out of these 19 books, I have, like, several of these I think I will finish this month, and as I mentioned, I do now set a challenge for myself that on the first of the month, how many of her books are on my currently reading, I want to finish half of them by the end of the month, and that just keeps the energy flowing in terms of remembering, hey, I know there's all these shiny new books on your TBR that you want to get to, but you're also still really interested in these other books too, and it's sort of, I'm able to give some energy to both new reads as well as some ones that are on there that I still really enjoy. In truth, are there any of these that I would DNF? There's maybe 2, but generally they're books I still want to read, which is why they have persisted on my list. So there you go. That's the state of things on my currently reading. I hope that was an enjoyable video. So we'll see how things go. I think it's fun to do these every once in a while just to see how things are. So that's it. Those are the 19 books that I am currently reading. Thanks so much for watching.